Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast AI, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. I'm Paul Davenport, Boast's resident tech journalist and head of content, and today I am thrilled to welcome to the show Aaron Konyer, Chief Technology Officer at Modular Solutions. Founded in 2015, Modular Solutions, formerly Nude Solutions, is a SaaS company on a mission to remove pain and friction from the insurance industry through software that allows insurance carriers, managing general agencies, mutuals, and brokers to transform and modernize their business. In his role as CTO, Aaron leads the design and evolution of the Modular Solutions platform, bringing experience in system architecture, distributed services, and backend engineering to build maintainable and adaptive systems that scale alongside business needs. It's an incredible mission and an Alberta-born business that's also a Boast partner, and I couldn't be more excited to pick Aaron's brain on Modular's unique space in their industry, the cool tech he's been steering, and what it takes to succeed in today's market. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Aaron.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is great.
I'm happy to have you. Like I said before we started recording, my buddy Kyle up there in Alberta has said nothing but great things about your team, and I'm pumped that we're getting some more Alberta blood on the show, to be honest. It's been a long time. We've really focused on the coasts, I feel like, in season one, so really want to make sure that we're hearing about the cool tech that you guys are staring up there. But yeah, to kick it off, Aaron, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you. Tell us all about yourself. How did you get into the innovation ecosystem in the first place, and what kind of sparked your techie entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, like you said, Alberta-born. I grew up in Edmonton area and went to university there. When I was younger, I was really into video games and computers and that kind of thing. So I think video games and editing video game files, kind of were one of the first fortes for me for getting into how computers work a little bit and how modifying a file might be able to impact something in the real world. So yeah, as a kid, I guess I spent quite a bit of time just on the computer making really dumb, cheesy websites as a teenager, and yeah, and then when it was time to figure out what I wanted to do and go to university, I decided, hey, why not try to learn a bit more about programming and computer science. Yeah, I'd never written a line of code actually, aside from basic HTML, even before I went to my first year of university. So yeah, kind of interesting, but yeah.
I love to hear that, to be honest. And I love that you had a path that is like that minimal barrier to entry, the video games of it all. I immediately
Yeah.
was thinking about yeah, I was a big SimCity nerd. I still kind of am. I definitely was doing some very basic coding on my MySpace when that was still a thing. So that made me think, hey, I'm good at this. I can be an engineer. Absolutely not. I do not have the patience or skill set. So gonna dig into more about what made you think this is where I want to go and why, whether you learned once you dove in at school or once you hit higher education, like what specific avenues of engineering really caught your interest and gave you that bug?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't even 100% sure what I wanted to do, but programming and computers just seemed to be one of the interests. So I went down that path, and yeah, one of the best decisions I ever made. There were definitely brief moments during school, like parts of it were challenging, and I was second guessing whether I made the right choice there. But yeah, glad I stuck with it and saw it through to the end. But as far as kind of what got me into entrepreneurship, I had a really good friend in university who approached me with an opportunity. He had a company that just wanted like an application built, like a line of business application, and he asked if I wanted to help him. And yeah, that was a way for me to make a bit of money on the side during school, and I figured, hey, why not? I'll try it out. Still being a student, it was very early days and made a lot of mistakes back then on that system, but that's kind of what got me into doing it. And I think once I finally graduated university, I had to make a decision. I was trying to figure out, like, do I want to just go get a job and work for somebody else and try to like look at the jobs that are out there? But I also had this contract thing on the side, and I figured, hey, like, why don't I just give this a shot and see if we can make this work? So that's what I did, and stuck with it. Got a few contracts in the beginning, and yeah, just slowly kind of worked away at that and grew. It took quite a while for the wheels to finally start rolling and to make some progress there, but yeah, it eventually obviously worked out. So
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, it's never overnight, obviously. And actually, there's some parallels to your story from other folks who we talked to on the podcast, which is a good sign because it shows there's kind of a winning formula. Find people in your network who can support you on your mission. You had mentioned your buddy who tasked you with creating the app, and that born the whole consulting practice that you'd be doing, and then really got you full time down this path and creating new things and creating new tech that can really move the needle. So we're big fans of that community mission, obviously. That's how we feel with our customers. We're elbow to elbow with them here at Boast. So I hope that we share that ethos, and it's something that I really love hearing from all these founders when they hop on the show. And again, it sets you down a path that I feel like is a better fit than maybe the traditional thing. You can definitely stick to your curriculum in school. You can even go all the way to get that degree. But then what you do after that, I love how you put it. Do I want to do it for somebody else? Do I want to collect somebody else's paycheck, or do I really want to build something? And I think that building something and that having that North Star and being hungry to see the results around it, that's something that gets me excited to work at Boast as a non-founder, just because we all have ownership of our areas of expertise and we're really able to drive those results to a shared mission. So music to my ears and all of that. Now, Modular Solutions. How did we get
Yeah.
from where you were then to this team now? Tell me about the team, but really how it came on your radar and what was the genesis there?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, the buddy who actually worked with me on the contracting business, and we still have that contracting business. And Modular Solutions back then it started out as New Era Insurance, which was an online insurance brokerage, and then eventually Nude Solutions, which was a software as a service platform. But it started out as a contract of mine. So we were just working away on this platform, just two of us, and started out really, really small, and it started to get a bit of success. And our CEO Braden asked if I wanted to do it full time, and yeah, kind of decided to take the opportunity. It seemed like it was a really good opportunity, and like we had a lot of potential, and we were starting to see some momentum there, and yeah, put the contracting a little bit on hold. And yeah, I mean, clearly now my full time job is Modular Solutions here. I don't really do too much of that contracting stuff anymore at all, but yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a journey. And I agree 100% with what you said. Like having some ownership and having some personal investment in it, even not even just equity. Obviously, people love equity, and people, that motivates them. But when it's yours and you're doing it for somebody else, and you're making the decisions, you get that drive and that motivation, and that really really helps motivate you for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Even like, yeah, putting the capital and equity aside out of the conversation. Exactly. That's exactly the point I wanted to make with that too. Like we all feel ownership of also the businesses that we work here at Boast. Like, sure, we want to make sure we're maximizing our claims for them so that we can get paid at the end of the day. But also we get excited and in the weeds with the tech that everybody's building. So we feel our own personal investment into it, and it gets us excited. And that's again why my friend Kyla, she's like, this is an exciting team. This is an exciting mission. They're doing something different. Connect with them because I've personally invested in what I want them to do and for them to succeed. So, two-pronged question here. Insurance. Why
Yeah.
insurance? Is this something that you were inherently interested in revolutionizing? Do you have like a personal experience with the headaches that you're trying to solve here? And
Yeah.
then, yeah, tell me about the unique take that you guys are taking to insurance as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I actually had absolutely no experience at all in the insurance world. I had experience building applications for various companies and a lot of like line of business applications for even some Alberta companies, several Alberta companies, but no insurance experience at all. I came into this totally blind. But that is actually one of the things about Modular Solutions I think that makes us really great is we have a lot of people on our team who are insurance experts. So our CEO Braden, he's been in the insurance industry his whole life. He's ran brokerages. He's had a lot of different businesses in the insurance world, and he brings a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different connections in the industry. And we obviously employ quite a few software developers. Some of them do have a little bit of insurance background, and a lot of the non-software developers, in fact, most of the non-software developers that work at Modular Solutions come from an insurance background. So we have a lot of very qualified insurance people that have really helped bridge that gap between the technology and the industry.
Yeah, you have to have both sides of that. And again, I probably sound like a broken record talking about the similarities between what we do at Boast and how you guys approach your mission. But having that expertise, the legalese, the vernacular, the really jargony things that are unique to these industries that are very regulated, you got to have those experts there and not people whose focus are necessarily split between understanding the ins and outs and complications, very nitty gritty of insurance and again, government backed things with the actual tech. I mean, you need the marriage and you need those people in the middle, but you need the experts on both sides of that. And I love that you guys are really sticking to that ethos. And again, your expertise wasn't in insurance out the gate. but you have an eye on those line of business solutions, and you have a line on how to actually solve problems that are inherent across the industry. So, if you could speak a little bit to how your tech is solving some of those problems, if there is a specific part of the platform or specific software that you've developed that has really moved the needle for your clients today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I didn't have a ton of insurance experience in the beginning, but I've been doing this for over 10 years now with Modular. I feel like an expert now. I guess I like to think of myself as one. I know more about insurance than I ever thought I could possibly know, or that there even was to know. And from both sides of it, I think when we started out, we were building an online insurance brokerage, like I said. So I don't know, without getting too into the weeds of insurance nitty gritty stuff, but brokers are kind of like the middleman, right? They aren't an insurance company. They're almost like a real estate agent. They sit in the middle and they help people find insurance. But the backing company is different than the broker. So we started off in that broker space, worked there for a few years, and it took a while for us to kind of realize that that space just wasn't doing exactly what we thought. When Braden first got into this, he thought that that industry was changing rapidly. All these insurance carriers would have, great software that we could connect to and try to automate. And we were trying to really, make that broker world more connected and just, more elevated and move it into the 21st century. But we worked at that for years, and it had its struggles, and a lot of the software and the APIs and just things that were available for us to work with just weren't there. And that kind of bridges us to where we are today. About 4 years ago, we made the decision to focus more on the carrier space than the broker space. During our journey through the broker space, we actually realized we were doing a lot of stuff that was more on the carrier side. Anyways, we had brokers that had their own products, that had their own rates and their own rules. They wanted us to figure out how to get these products into our platform. And we realized, we were actually doing a lot of the stuff we started doing was more carrier focused than it was actually insurance broker focused. And we decided at that point that, and actually we had a lot of different companies, carrier companies and MGAs that expressed interest even in our broker software, even though it wasn't really intended for them. So, yeah, we kind of realized maybe we should be focusing on the carrier space. And about 4, maybe almost 5 years ago, we decided to start over from the ground up. We completely rebuilt a brand new app with everything we had learned from the broker space. And actually, very, very grateful. We had some experts that had worked on really big insurance platforms in the past that helped us design and architect this new system that we have built. So we have, and these guys they spent their whole careers building insurance software for some of the larger carriers in Canada. So they came to us with a lot of experience and a lot of learnings over the years, and they helped us start over from the ground up and really build what we have today. So, but yeah, I mean, what we have today, it's a really, really, I'm very, very proud of it. It's in my 15 years as a software developer, it's by far the best thing I've ever built, and the most impressive thing I've ever built. And there's been a lot of learning to get to this point, but it's nothing like I've ever worked on before. It's really, really generic. It's really, really configurable, which makes it challenging. A lot of software out there, it does one thing and it does it a particular way. But the more configurability and the more that you can customize it, the higher the complexity, right? And just by the nature of our software, we need insurance companies. They all have different products. They all have different rates. They all have different rules. They all have different workflows, and they all need to be able to configure this application in a very different way from each other. So we had to really rethink how we were approaching this, and build really, really generic software. So that's, I think, one of the biggest problems that we've had to solve is just how do you make this configurable, like without developers too, right? Like obviously we're the developers building the software, but we don't want our clients to have to write code. We want them to be able to buy this software and implement it. And obviously, yeah, they can do. We have a rules engine that does let them do some scripting and programming if they want to, but for the most part, you don't actually have to. You can just configure this application to do anything. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could dive into a lot of stuff there, but yeah.
No, you put that beautifully. And again, just to kind of recap some of the points you made, 4 years ago, moved out of the broker space because what you had was actually attractive to carriers, and it actually solved some of those problems, even if they weren't being delivered in the current iteration of what you guys had. to that audience. So you had to rebuild, but the learnings that you took from that earlier experience and everything that you had actually worked on, it wasn't for naught. It wasn't thrown out the window, but you guys did have to do some really deep R&D. You had to really put your heads together and build something new that would be attractive to this big boy market. It's huge. That is
Yeah.
awesome. So, I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit about the R&D. Also, specifically, how you funded that R&D. I know it brings us back to the boast of it all, but like I said, we've worked with you guys. We really love what you're doing. And I'd love to hear, A, maybe some learnings about the R&D that you did, but also just how you went about funding that innovation. If you have insights into that, or even working with the Boast team to actually get you the capital you needed to extend that runway and help drive that innovation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've been working with Boast for years. You mentioned Kyla. I actually just met her for the first time here a few weeks ago in person, which was nice. So a lot of these, and met several people on your team. So a lot of these people that I've been talking to for years, it was nice to meet them in person. But yeah, Boast and the Shred program in general has actually been very, very beneficial for us as an organization. As a startup, we're 10 years old now, but over 10 years old now, but we're still kind of considered a startup. We started a brand new project 4 years ago, so there's still a lot of R&D happening, and very, very thankful that the government of Canada is has these programs available that help companies get off the ground and really try to push entrepreneurship forward. Um, but as you know, like that shred program it's a huge amount of work as well, right? Like you have to document everything, you have to research everything, you have to write all of these proposals. So you guys have been very, very helpful in that, and I think helped us maximize that claim and go through actually several audits as well. We got audited on a couple of them. We always passed. Everything was great. We always got everything out of it. So. Yeah, I mean, and there's been other grants too. I think Alberta Innovates is one. Worked with several different government grants that have been really, really good for funding. But obviously, that's not the entire story. So maybe I'm jumping around a little bit. But just to talk about like the R&D, yeah, we did a lot of learning over the first like 5 years of that first application that we built, and it's still in production. We still have quite a few clients using it, and they're still happy. We are trying to transition most of them over to this new application that we have built. But as I said, tons of learning came from that, and we did reuse a lot of the learnings from that. But a lot of it actually just came from potential clients too. We had a list of about 5 or 6 different companies that all helped us collaborate on different ideas of what they wanted, and they were almost they were helping shape the idea of this software and what it could be before it was even built. So we had a panel, basically. We got them all together and we tried to take all of their ideas and blend them together and figure out what would work for everybody. We tried to not build anything that is very specific to one client, right? We're not a custom dev shop that makes software for only one insurance company. Like everything we build is very purposefully designed, and we make the decision whether or not we actually want to do it because it needs to fit our general roadmap and our general direction for this software. And then obviously just having people that have done things like this before, and a lot of learning. So the old application that we built, it was pretty rigid in a lot of ways. You could customize aspects of it, but the rules engine and what we called a product designer, product builder, it could do some things, but it just wasn't really generic enough. So taking those learnings, pretty much starting over, and that, along with people who have done this for big insurance companies that helped us design these systems, we just kind of iterated, and we're still iterating. I mean, every single year, it seems like we're learning new things and advancing this platform and making it better. So tons and tons of R&D. It never seems to go away, and I never stop learning. My whole team never stops learning. We're getting better and better at doing this all the time. So
I love to hear all of that. And again, when you were talking about the iterating, it's in the purpose of advancing the solution, which, not to dive into tax speak, but that's kind of the barrier to entry for Shred in general. And for a lot of the grant programs that you listed, and for a lot of even just the provincial R&D tax credits, if you're just tinkering away doing stuff, but you're not actually advancing things, or if you're like, oh, I have this wheel, if I put it on this car or that car, you're just reusing, you're not advancing anything. So what you guys have done has been iterative and an advancement. Just wanted to stake that claim for the folks reading the transcript here.
Yeah.
And then another point you made too, just about like how you guys did so much in those first 5 years, even before you had to make that pivot to the carrier. And we talk about like applied research and basic research. The way you describe that, That was textbook, like, applied research. Like, yes, you put it into production, you actually did have something in market. It is still actually spinning out there too. You're trying to get folks over to the new, platform just because it's the latest, greatest, and again, you guys have advanced it. You've been making it that configurable, usable, customizable platform that's complex for you guys, but not for the users who are actually getting to it at the end of the day. So, again, this is kind of like textbook example of exactly what the CRA wants to see when you're putting in that shred application. And then even bringing it back to the boast of it all too. Going to call back what I had said earlier. So many people on our team, they're technologists. They learn the language, they learn the vernacular, they're quick reads. They either owned a business or started a business or got into R&D on other big projects before they came to Boast. At the same time, we have our tax experts on there too. So, I mean, we really have those people who own what they own. And then we have the tools to meet in the middle and the other folks who, again, who have just been doing this for a long time to really shepherd it through. So, love to hear that you've tapped into our network up there in Alberta. And again, that we're able to help you guys get the funding that you need because what you're doing warrants that. Um, it's amazing. And then I'd love to know a little bit more too. We don't have to go too long here, but what else in the Alberta ecosystem has been beneficial for you guys? I guess I'd love to figure out why Alberta has been a good home for you guys to build this business versus maybe tech hubs that come to mind for folks on an international scale versus those who know about the great innovation happening up there firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question too. Probably the easiest and most obvious answer is just that we're all from here. Braden Bosch, our CEO, he's Alberta born and has worked and lived here, I think, most of his entire life. I've lived here my entire life, so it was obvious that if we're going to do it, we would do it here. But Calgary is also just a booming tech city right now, right? Even compared to, I mean, like I said, I grew up in Edmonton area, but I moved to Calgary almost 8 years ago now, and even in the last 8 years, I've seen it change a lot. I actually just read something recently that said tech is larger than I think some of the oil industry in Calgary area this year. So maybe not all of oil. I don't know the specifics on that, but like yeah, certainly parts of it. It's becoming a huge industry, right? And I think the city is investing in it. They're trying to bring talent here, and even the housing market in Calgary, it's a bit cheaper than maybe Toronto, Vancouver, which I think draws a lot of people as well too, right? So a lot of companies are opening offices in Calgary, bigger companies, because it's cheaper here, and people actually want to move here, and there's a lot of opportunity here. So I think Alberta and Calgary specifically have been really great for entrepreneurship and for startups. And just to kind of go back to, I realized I kind of skipped over one of the last questions you said. You asked about the funding of this too. So Braden, our CEO, he has had several businesses in insurance, including our online insurance brokerage that we first started. So and several other companies that we've worked on, including in the software, and a couple of those were sold. So during 2019, 2020 ish, around that time, sold a couple of those assets that we had built and that he owned, and most of it, aside from the government funding and shred and stuff, it's all been self-funded. So a lot of it's just Braden's money, and it's been a self-funded project. And up until recently, we did just close a funding round about 6 or 9 months ago, which has been really beneficial for us because that self-funding, you can only do that for so long. But we've built a proven product now. It took us, once we decided to pivot and start focus on this new application, this new carrier focused application, it was about 3 years of development with a full dev team just until it was ready for MVP of people to use. So that's 3 years of just building and not having a ton of money coming in from selling this piece of software because it wasn't ready yet. And just in the last year, we've really started to commercialize it. So it's been about 4 years now. We're at the kind of commercialization stage. Although software's never done, we're always adding more, always iterating, always making it better. And yeah, that's where we've raised some capital and now we're taking it to market. And that's kind of the stage that we're at right now. So.
Oh, I love it. And also, like, that's what investors want to hear. If you're actually savvy with your money and you're tapping into the government resources, but you're ultimately able to self-fund for that long and to really drive that R&D and then cash in on that R&D at the same time, not in a cynical sense, in literally we're doing something worthy of the investment from the government, that we don't have to go and reach across to ask people for the cash we need to fund all of this. That's fantastic. Yeah, actually, well, one point that was sitting in the back of my head too was a point you made about auditing. And this is a completely different tangent than where I want to go, but just want to say for table stakes too, auditing isn't necessarily an indictment of your tech or that the CRA doesn't believe you. They have to audit 25% of every claim that comes through. And I think until they get to know some of the names off their list, they're going to poke around at some of the new guys or they're going to see some things in there. So that's why, again, I need to emphasize to all listeners here, get somebody like Boast who can really partner with you through that process because it's not an indictment on you necessarily. It is the government doing their due diligence. But to your point about all the documentation and how very, very detailed and technical you need to get just to claim shred, they're going to ask for all the receipts when you're in the audit. So if you don't have that system of truth that Boast helps you provide, or that expert who's going to go to bat for you with the CRA, it can get hairy. So I'm happy to hear that we helped you guys through all of that. Also, calling back to the Alberta ecosystem, everything you said is so true. I actually haven't been up yet myself, but we partner with Platform Calgary, and the amount of like work and innovation and tech and conversations we've been having from Calgary, it's kind of blowing the other cities out of the water. Just in terms of like the net new that I've seen firsthand in my 3-ish years working with Boast. So love to see what's happening up there. I'm very excited I'm going to be coming up there eventually to hopefully connect with some of my new friends in person. But Aaron, this has all been great and this is music to my ears. I want to know what's next for Modular Solutions. What do you guys have on your roadmap? What are some things that we can look forward to? Or now that you guys are really commercializing these products, something that we can keep our eyes out for?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things for us is just that it is a big complex piece of software, right? And it's not like you just go into the store and pick up Microsoft Word off the shelf. Not that anybody buys physical software anymore. It's all digital, but you know what I mean. It's not just something you install and quickly start using in a day. This is a transformational piece of software that powers an entire insurance company, which makes it time consuming to configure and onboard people, and that's one of the areas that we're focusing our time and energy on right now, is just improving that. um, you know you can imagine an insurance company, especially an existing insurance company that's maybe on a older piece of software that they've been using for 20 years. Everything that they do is built into that, and we're trying to move them off of that onto something new. Our system is extremely flexible. It can do 95% of what those legacy systems could do. But there's, no matter what, when you're changing platforms, there's always things that you're going to have to make slight changes, and workflow changes, data structure changes, the way that you do things are going to have to change slightly. So a lot of what we're doing is working through, how do we make that faster, better? How do we get people using this quicker? And just make that onboarding cycle, as efficient as possible. AI is obviously a huge thing right now. We're experimenting with using AI to try to figure out how to configure our application faster to help our internal staff implement new customers faster. And just, there's always little things. We're always adding new things, making our rules engine more capable of doing new things, adding new features to our rating engine, adding I don't know. There's just an endless feature set list we got planned in the next few years here. So anything that we can do to make our software work better for our customers and make them happy, that's what we're doing. But yeah, one of the biggest areas right now that we're focusing on is just getting this system to, how do we get people on it more efficiently and really, really be able to commercialize more efficiently.
Yeah, and that speaks to the complexity of what you're doing. And again, in a highly regulated industry with so many in-house legacy tech solutions that people really don't want to take their fingers off, especially if they've been working with them for so long. And at the rate of change today, it's not just like the digital transformation conversation that everyone was having, God, 5, 10 years ago. It's that on steroids. And when you consider the slow rate of regulatory change versus the advancement of tech week after week at this rate, meeting in the middle, you guys are doing a good job of helping the carriers keep up and again, lowering the complexity for them while using your brain power to tackle those extremely complex challenges in terms of the R&D and the actual development that goes into making these tools. So that is so cool. Aaron, That's all the reasons why we want you guys to be on our team here at Boast. And that's really why I wanted to talk to you on this podcast. But anything else you wanted to shout out or any other points that I didn't get to?
I mean, obviously, my team is great. I'm very thankful to everyone, and I'm only as good as the team. So I'm very, very proud of my team and happy with the team. And they've been working really hard for years on this. So I'm proud of where we're at, and I'm very appreciative of where we're at with them, which is great. I think the whole organization would agree and share in that. Thank you. And to our clients too, like a lot of them have, as we said, we've been working on this for 4 years, and we had a lot of them working together to provide insight into what they wanted. So the clients have been really great to work with us to help us get to where we're at as well. And maybe just one of the other things to pitch for us is one of the most positive things that we're hearing is compared to other software that these insurance companies can buy. Their customers are brokers, right? I mentioned earlier the difference between insurance brokers and insurance carriers. Well, the carriers' customers are brokers. Usually, brokers are the ones who are shopping around for the end customer and trying to figure out who can give them the best price for the best coverage, et cetera. And we have built a really, really powerful broker portal into our platform, which means carriers can offer brokers a way to log in and get quotes for any type of insurance that they have. And the broker portal has been getting a ton of positive feedback lately. So that's another thing we're working a lot on over the next year, is just making that better and making the broker experience of the customers of our customers happier. So yeah, just wanted to plug that too.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, you're making it easier for the customers of your customers. And we're going to help you guys get the R&D funding that you need to make sure that you can get to that goal here at Boast. So music to my ears, Aaron. No, this is fantastic. I can't thank you enough for hopping on the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, this is great. I appreciate it.